What's up, y'all? It's Don the Average Joe coming at you. It is Tuesday evening, all right, about 7:20 or so. All right, I'm here outside, of course. Beautiful weather, beautiful, nice greenery, nice, beautiful grass outside. Out in this open parking lot, I'm about to do a review on my Mazda CX9, 2018 Mazda CX9, red. This is Soul Red Metallic. Right, this is what this color is considered. Soul metal, red metallic. See, he's got the chrome grille, right? This right here didn't come with the vehicle. There's a chrome strip right there. I actually installed it myself. Right. This one is the touring model, right? This is a touring model with the premium package, right? It comes with the leather interior, and of course, black leather. Right, premium package. Right, got some chrome bits and pieces in there. Shiny bits and pieces in there, and all that good stuff. So this I'm gonna do a review on the outside first. All right, you can see, the red accented with black. Black trim. Black on the bumper. Chrome on the, deck lid, with a chrome Mazda logo, right? And this one is the, of course, CX9, which is a 7-passenger version, that Mazda makes, a family version. All right, it comes with 18-inch wheels. All right, these are 225 60 18s, right? And Yokohama tires. All right, this car actually has, I bought it brand new. Of course, it has 8,000 miles on it. When I bought it, I drove it off a lot. It had 37 miles on it. All right. So I've had it now almost a year, and I've done almost 10,000 miles. It is a lease. I do have a 12,000 miles a year lease on this Mazda. So between now and September, I should put on at least, between now and September, at least about 1,000 miles or so. So I should be right below the 12,000 mile mark. But as you can see, it's a pretty good looking truck. It's a pretty good looking SUV. It rides nice, handles well, right? I'm thinking about putting some custom wheels on there, but if I do put some custom wheels on there, they're probably going to be 20-inch wheels, and I'm going to paint them black. They're going to be satin black, right? They're not going to be that dull looking, matte finish. All right. You pop that door open. I keep it nice and clean on the inside. All right, I keep it nice and clean. Leather's fresh. Don't mind the bag right there. Mind your business. Ain't none of your business what's in that bag. All right. Watch my lotto tickets right there. All right. The trunk, of course. Power lift gate. Pops right up. Got nice trunk space in there. I keep my all kinds of junk back there. All my quick cleaner chemicals for the vehicle. Turtle wax, not turtle wax, but tie shine. Spray wax, whatnot. I keep some towels in there. A brush, paper towels, whatnot. I keep all that stuff in there. So when I'm out, I can keep the vehicle clean. Right. So that's the lift gate, and I'm gonna pop the hood. I'll show you what's going on underneath there. So, this vehicle is equipped with a 4-cylinder. Let me grab this right here. Yeah, so it's a little dirty on the engine. I need to spray down, power wash it. But yeah, it's a 4-cylinder. I think it's a 2.6 or 2.8 liter. Skyactiv technology. All right. I mean, it's a decent sized 4-cylinder, with a turbocharger. It's a turbocharged engine. You see the turbocharger in the back there. All right. It has respectively 225 horsepower, 300 and I think 3 or 333 foot-pound of torque. All right. So even though the car is not that very powerful, but with the torque spec and so on and so forth, it actually gets up and go. Actually feels like a 6-cylinder. And even for a big car like this, which weighs close to 4,000 pounds, it actually gets up and go. Bottom end power to mid end power is pretty decent. High end power, not so great. And I was comparing it, to my sister's Cadillac. My sister has a Cadillac SRX 4, 2016, and we traded cars the other day, last Saturday. She took my car, I took hers. But the comparison between the Mazda and the Cadillac is kind of like night and day. I like my Mazda because it's lightweight, it's sporty, right? It's very nimble, it corners well, it handles well, and it drives very comfortable. The Cadillac, on the other hand, was a heavy car. Even though it's a smaller car than the Mazda, it's only a 5-passenger car, but everything was heavy about it, all right? The steering wheel was heavy, the gear shifter was heavy. It seemed like you had to put a lot of effort in, turn the car, shifting the daggone gears, open the door. Even the daggone door handles were heavy, the door itself was heavy. My wife was having trouble, holding on to the door. She was banging into a couple of cars, once in a while when she was, getting out, so it's a big, between the Cadillac right here and my Mazda, big difference. The Cadillac, yes, it has a V6, right? I think it's like a 3.6 liter with 300 and I think 33 horsepower. It does have a lot of horsepower, not as much torque. And you really don't feel like high-end torque until you get to, the midway point, which is not bad. But I'm sorry, I'd rather stick to my Mazda, all right? Like I said, Mazda has made big improvements over the years, all right? Back about, let me close this hood down. Back about maybe like 10, 15 years ago, I would never got a Mazda. Or a Mazda, I guess back then they had a Mazda 626, they have the Mazda 323, they have the Mazda 929, they have the Mazda Millennium. I think those go back in like the mid-90s, and up, to about 2000. They make the Mazda Millennium with a supercharged V6 engine. Those are all right, but the engine wasn't as reliable. I think up until 2016, when they redid the body style on the Mazda CX9. 2016 when they came out with the Mazda CX9. Before that, they had the Mazda CX7. All right, they had the Mazda CX7. They never had a Mazda CX9, and they also had a CX5. Right, so the CX7, they did away with that. Came out with the Mazda CX9. I think around 2016. I'm sorry, no, 2015, which had a V6 in it. All right, it wasn't the best engine. All right, so I guess Mazda decided they're gonna do away with the 4-cylinder engine and come out with a 4-cylinder turbo, which is in the 2016, 2017, and the one I have now, 2018, 2019, and I'm not sure, what they can go do from there on out. But anyways, I'm gonna head on out. I'm gonna take the Mazda for a ride. Y'all can come on with me. Take a little, tag along. We're gonna drive the Mazda and get on home. It's kind of toasty out here. It's still about 76 degrees out here. But it's nice nevertheless. So here we go. Switch this around. Pop that open. Hop on in the Mazda. Crank that on. Yep, look at the temperature right there. It is 84 degrees. Yeah. So, yeah, my wife done called me. I'll give her a buzz and see what's going on. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, so we're getting ready to go. I got lights on the Mazda, right? You know, they're at faded status right now. They, they fade, like 7 different colors, right? I also have the disco lights in the ceiling, right? So those stars right there, those red stars, yeah, those are nice. Those are my party lights. All right, so anyways, I'm about to head on down, to my sister-in-law's house and grab my wife or not. My sister-in-law has something to show me, so I'm gonna see what's going on. All right, so y'all can tag along with me, and we're gonna take the Mazda for a drive down there. I'm telling you, the Mazda is not a slouch. It gets them and goes. I can't do it too crazy. I was in the parking lot here a little while ago, and the county sheriff department just passed through. All right, I guess they're making sure they checking to see if everything's copacetic in this parking lot. Because where I am right now is deserted lot. It used to be supermarket, Stop and Shop supermarket. I guess they moved across the street, and this building right here is just vacant. So here we go. Yeah, Mazda not slouch at all. See, it's getting up and going. Yeah, it is not a slouch at all. Right? I don't know, if I had a choice between a turbocharged and a supercharged, I know both units, both mechanism, works very well, right? The supercharger, there's basically no turbo lag or no lag with a supercharger. It's straight power, that goes into the motor, centrifugal air that builds up, in the supercharger, sends it into the cylinders of the engine, and you develop instantaneous power. The turbocharger, on the other hand, it works off of exhaust, right? So as the exhaust builds up in the cylinder and it expels from the engine, it goes into the propeller and it sucks it out. So that develops a little bit of lag, but once the turbo is at full boost, you just hold on for a ride. It's like a rocket ship. All right. This Mazda, like I said, it's not a whole hell of a lot of horsepower. 225 horsepower, 300 foot-pound of torque. The car does feel like a V6, and it gets up and goes. See, I'm catching to this truck here real fast. That's how the torque spec is on this car. And it picks up the vehicle very, very fast. It picks up speed very, very fast and goes. It's not a slouch. I've never really driven this vehicle at top speed. I mean, it's an SUV, it's a cruising vehicle, it's a family vehicle. The only time I'm probably going to exceed the speed limits is probably when I got a sports car. All right. All of that, I don't want to lose my license anymore. I lost my license 3 or 4 times already when I was much younger. Because when I was much younger, I had all kinds of sports cars. I had a Suzuki Swift GT. That was a 1.3 engine, 1.3 liter engine with 100 horsepower, right? And that thing was a little pocket rocket, I'm sorry. The car was light. The car was almost 2,700 pounds. It was a hatchback, 4-seater, but that thing was light, and that thing ran. It was like I said, 1.6 liter, 1.3 liter with a twin cam overhead valve, 16 valve, and that thing was not a slouch. That thing was running. Got a few tickets on that one. Lost my license maybe once or twice, because I only got speeding tickets and I went to court and paid them. So got my license got suspended, quite a few times, with their car. What I have after that one, I had a Mazda RX-7. It was 1987 Mazda RX-7 Turbo 2. Right? It was a 13B engine in that one, single turbo in that one, with 182 horsepower. And back then in 1987, that was some decent horsepower. I think the top speed in that car was like 140 miles an hour. I got it up to 136, at one point. I was going on the highway one nice Sunday morning, driving down to Westchester, and that was scary. And I'm talking about this, it was 1987, and I bought this car, it was 1995. It was less than 10 years old when I bought it, all right? And that car was fast back then, all right? After that car, I had me a couple of Volkswagens, I had a Volkswagen GTI, I had a Volkswagen GT, I had a Scirocco, 16 valve. I had a Scirocco 8 valve. I had a Mitsubishi, a Nissan 300ZX, 2+2, right? That one was also 1987, with a V6 engine, So I mean, that was that pretty, fast car, especially back then, And my brother-in-law back then, my ex-wife's, brother. He was a big-time Porsche fanatic. That's how I got to learn about Porsches. Because of him. Because when I first met him, the Porsche that he had was a 1987. It was 1987 944 Turbo S, and the Turbo S's back then came with a 4-cylinder engine, turbocharged. I think it was like 264 horsepower, 4-cylinder. And that actual 4-cylinder came from a 928 Porsche. They split the engine in half and, built it in 944, with a single turbo. That car was fast, Like I said, the color was gray with red interior, like a cherry red interior, right? Leather interior. It was a beautiful car. Of course, crashed the damn thing. And, being that, even though it was a 944, it wasn't a top of the line Porsche. It wasn't a 911 or anything like that, but parts were still expensive. It was very, very expensive to maintain, So after he crashed it, he ended up purchasing a 911 Turbo, which was another 1987 911 Turbo, and this one was considered the 930 version. And that one, flat 6, single turbo, 333 horsepower, or 303 horsepower back then. And I'm talking about back then, that was supercar status. Those were supercars back then, because the damn car, top speed was like 180 miles an hour. All right, and that shit was fast. And plus he had a lot of improvements done on it, because it only came with a 4-speed gearbox. He had the gearbox upgraded to a 5-speed. He had an engine, some modification done to the engine, bigger turbo, bigger exhaust, better exhaust, bigger wheels, and all that stuff. I think back then, and I'm talking about, this is like 1995, 1996. That car was pumping out like 550 horsepower to the wheels. That car was sick, and it was blowing flames out of the exhaust. They have cars nowadays, the McLarens, Lamborghinis, and so on and so forth, blowing flames out of the exhaust. They used to do that mess back then, back in the 90s. I think what he had done was he had, instead of one plug going through his cylinders, he had him drill out another hole and made a double plug and did something with the exhaust, which made it spit flames. I'm telling you, this thing was spitting like 6-foot flames coming out the back, so, and, my thing with cars have been going on since I was 17 years old. I've been a car enthusiast ever since. If I had the money, I'm not talking about if I was rotten rich or anything like that, but if I had the money to, have a lot of cars or have a lot of money towards my disposal, so where I can get all the cars that I probably have. I probably own about me like a dozen cars. All the cars that I've dreamt of owning and having, and I probably have a separate garage to house all my cars, So, so here's Mazda right here. It's a beautiful car, right? It's a beautiful, very beautiful car. I love it, and hopefully, one day, the Volvo is my next SUV. The Volvo XC90, is my next SUV. So hopefully, the dear Lord blesses me, and my financial stability has exceed, what I'm making now. I'll get that, right? So I think that's going to be about it for my Mazda CX9 review, right? Hopefully y'all like my video. If y'all like it, give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button, and probably send a comment here and there. Whether it's a negative comment or a positive comment, a comment is a comment nevertheless. All right, so this is Don the Average Joe. Let me flip that around. This is Don the Average Joe. I'm about to sign out. Enjoy the rest of the evening. God bless and good night.